Hello and welcome to day 4 from my Bali balcony production studio. And welcome to my talks on yoga and total body cleanse through detox. Today my production studio is a bit windy, and life goes on around, so I hope the wind would not distract you much from what I'm saying. You know, life goes and there is no there is no other possibility but just to do it in here. So hopefully you won't get distracted. So let's get on today's topic. Today I will talk about stress, but from an unusual point of view. We normally say stress is bad for me. We believe that actually stress is bad for you. But stress is a part of our healthy life. I'm going to talk about what actually stress is and what metabolic processes it affects. And at the end, I will tell you how you can reverse that stress and make you more resilient to it. So first of all, what is stress? Stress arises or comes up when our perceived demands are greater than our perceived resources to meet them. So let me repeat again because it's quite important to grasp this. Stress happens when our perceived demands that are put upon us, are greater than our perceived resources to meet them. So our perceived ability to meet their stress and to solve the problem. And yeah, in other words, we are not able to successfully meet demands put upon us. But there is a good stress and there is a bad stress. There is a stress that is actually beneficial for our human existence, but also there are stressors that are harmful for us, and they take away from our prana, our energy, our life force, making us ill and speeding up our aging process. We grow older much quicker. But let's address the bad stress for a moment. Something like chronic stress. If you constantly challenge your nervous system and we are constantly in fight or flight mode, fight or flight mode, we will disturb and agitate the natural function of the body systems, and in particular your nervous system. Everything in your body is connected, and change in our external environment will directly change the biochemical production, which will further send signals throughout your body via your endocrine system to produce hormones, or that hormone to activate certain function in your body, either in terms of defense or growth. One very important thing to have in mind throughout this conversation is the fact that our cells can multitask, which I mentioned before, if you catch that. Our cells are either employed for some kind of bodily activity or it is in a mode of growth and rejuvenation. It can't do both at the same time. The incredible men who I had privilege to meet at the big international yoga festival in Rishikesh a couple of years ago, where I went to it, his name is Dr. Bruce Lipton, has explained this phenomena perfectly. I love this man. It's a brilliant man with brilliant science mind. He's my favorite. So I'm going to use his experiment to explain stress and how cells behave when you put stress upon them, upon your body. So he made experiment in his lab with cells in pituitary dish. He spends most of his time experimenting in his laboratory back in USA. He lives there. So this experiment is about two petri dishes, which with exactly the same cells in each of that petri dish. In one petri dish, he put nutritions in front of the cell, and in other petri dish, he put toxins in front of the cells. So after a while, he went back to look and analyze them, like what's happened there, what's the reaction, and he found that when nutrients are in the dish, so good stuff, the cells moves towards the signal, recognizing them as a positive growth signals. But when toxins or bad stuff are put in a dish, the cells move away from those threatening negative signals. So when the cells see something that gives growth, they move to signal with their arms open, so to speak, so like to take it all in. But if cells see toxins, they move away from the signal and close themselves down. So cells cannot be open and closed at the same time. So as he beautifully put it, and concluding that the cell can be in growth or they are in protection, but they can't be in the both at the same time. It's so important to notice that. So when we apply this to humans, it looks like this. The mind will perceive the environment, and if it sees it, what it believes to be threatening, it will send a signal to the cell that the environment is not supporting us. There is a danger out there. That process and that stress connection is called hypothalamic pituitary adrenaline axis. Full mouth, it's a big word. Excuse me. These are the acts, that's the acts where hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenals are in relation to each other. So they all kind of talk to each other. So hypothalamus is part of the brain that interprets your perception. So when hypothalamus sees stress, it sends signals to your pituitary gland. And that pituitary gland is a master gland that passes those signals further down to 50 trillion cells that you have in your body. So in this case, if it's a threat, danger, it sends signals to adrenaline glands to get ready, on which adrenaline gland releases stress hormone to the body. And the first thing that stress hormone do, they prepare the whole body to run or fight, fight or flight. So the whole body gets into commotion, get ready. So cardiovascular system takes over, preparing the body to run from perceived danger by shutting the whole energy, blood flow and bodily functions to arms and legs, so heart and lungs. So when the whole blood circulation has gone to extremities, to your legs and arms, no blood is left into your digestive system to digest food. Let me just pause here a little bit, because this is so important to acknowledge, to understand why we get sick. When there is no enough blood in your gut to digest the food you just eaten, the food sits there and rots, producing toxins. It's not moving, it just sits there. And also, there is no enough blood to serve the rest of internal organs functions like your liver, kidneys, and all that. So blood goes from gut and your internal organs to periphery, to run. So the ability to grow and maintain your health goes right down. As Dr. Bruce said, when you are in protection, you shut down the growth. The cells in your body can't do both at the same time. That is in a nutshell how stress, and especially chronic stress, makes us ill and set us for a variety of diseases and illnesses. One thing to emphasize and make sure it is understood, we grow every single day. Our cells regenerate every single day. Old ones, billions and billions of them, are dying every single day, and they are replaced with new cells every single day. So as I said, like there are 50 trillion cells in the body in a constant motion. So when under stress, you don't replace the cells at the normal rate. For example, lining in your gut has to replace every 3 days. But if you spend all your metabolic energy on fighting perceived stress, the lining will take longer to mend. So in other words, if your days are filled with stress, then you are putting lots of hormones in your body in direction for fight or flight. They're employed differently. Vital thing to memorize here is the function of the stress hormone is to take energy of the body and get all of it to whatever is needed for protection from that perceived danger. So the stress hormone will shut off the functions in the body and will not be needed in fight or flight. Yeah. So the functions are not needed in that run state. Also, an important, your major users of your energy in your body percent in your gut. Do you remember? So 80. In relation to what I said earlier, the body spends the majority of its overall energy for the function of the gut to digest the food, so therefore to maintain strong immune system. So in line with that analogy to what we are discussing here, when you're under the stress, at the same time you have this bacterial or viral attack on your body, which is constant occurrence in our normal life, bacteria, germs, and everywhere. With the word germs to get flu or cold. So what do you think the body will prioritize? You know, what's happening in your body? Well, forget about immune system as your bacterial defense system being employed to shed bacteria, virus, and defend the body from that cold or flu. The body is reacting directly to perceived danger, aka stress, preparing the body to run and survive. In short, stress shuts off the immune system. Yeah. So we all carry viruses, bacteria, and parasites and germs in our cells constantly. Your immune system is working hard for you to ward off those germs and parasites. But the moment you start shutting off the immune system, then those organs, bacteria and parasites, begin to start growing again, and you give them opportunity to create a disease. So stress shuts off growth and shuts off your immune system. But also, as Dr. Bruce points out, in the moment of stress, you're not 100% rational human being, and we use reflex behavior rather than conscious reasoning. So you are not as smart anymore, like you end up being little, and you just do what's necessary. So when stress hormone enters the bloodstream while you're under the stress, that stress hormone not just squeezes the blood vessels from your gut to pump all the blood to periphery, legs and arms, but also those hormones squeezes the blood vessel in front of your brain, where your conscience is. So to push the blood to the back of your head for the reflex behavior. So that means when you're under the stress, your cognitive function are shut, and you kind of put on automatic pilot. So this is how bad stress affects your body. But there is another side to it. So all this said, there is a beautiful thing with a human body that can be trained, and our stress doesn't need to define. Your stress doesn't need to define you and quality of your life. There are methods and techniques that you can practice to make your body more resilient to stress and at least be capable of neutralizing the stress. So and also you're allowing the body to do what it needs to do in terms of being open rather than shut. So the immune system and gut function can function properly. So, how do we train our body to handle stress better? How do you do that? We do that through the process of deliberately putting stressors upon our body systems. So to awake them and kind of defend themselves, creating stronger resilience in your nervous system, stronger immune system, and stronger all around. So in order to train the body to cope with stress, we actually need to put body and mind through control and periodic stress. So body and mind gets used to it and is prepared when it's actually attacked with the stress. You can't control much. It's prepared, it's ready to defend itself. So in order to train the body and increase its resilience, we need to challenge it sometimes. Same like you would go to gym. If you want your muscles to grow, you'll need to put a little bit of stress upon it. In this case, you will put weights, so they become stronger. You develop muscle structure and more resilient to potential breakage of your arm and such. So the same principle applies to training the body's metabolic systems. There is something called Hermesis. This is training of the body-mind to have the ability to respond to stressors. It is making you more resilient. Hormesis has been defined as an adaptive response of the cell, so adaptive response of the cell to this moderate control and usually intermittent stress. It's not constant, it's just on a short period. It can be on a physical level, on psychological level, and biological or nutritional level. For example, cold hot temperature exchange, like pranayama or breath work, meditation or fasting. These are all examples of homeostasis. So if you always live in a state of comfort, like our faculties in the body get sluggish, lazy, and totally untrained for any potential attack that might come from. Train your mind, body, and soul. Stress, and you're well equipped towards healthy aging and longevity. It's a big topic in itself, so I'll be talking about it in my masterclass. It's powerful stuff. This hormesis is just the new, and it's good to dive into it. So we need to balance in our life, in everything we'll do, in order to attain this coherence of the body system and maintain optimum health. So to live not just long, but well. In my masterclass, I will go into you can implement to make your body more resilient to stressors, to these external stressors. So if you find this interesting, please book your place for my masterclass that will run soon after those 5 talks are over. The link will be in the comments, so if you can't find it, please reach out to me. I'll directly message you. Hope to see you at that masterclass session where I'll be talking about how you detox that will bring amazing results and what for you, particularly for you to use. There are different detox methods for different purposes. So tomorrow it's my last broadcast, and I will talk about what yoga can do in terms of supporting and guiding you in detox cleanse process, and also bust the belief that yoga is just a kind of form of exercise. Yoga is much more than that. Anyway, on this note, I shall love you and leave you for now. Hope to see you in a masterclass. Hope to see you tomorrow. Have a lovely day and a namaste.